This episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet. I can do this in a basement. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. So if you can help out, we do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to, and, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on, and goes towards keeping the internet on. So please, if you can give $5, $10, $20, it doesn't matter. Anything you can is so appreciated. And if you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can be a sponsor. But I'll let you get back to the episode. Awesome. Welcome to the show, Kev. I appreciate you coming on, man. How much time do you have now? Because you and I met when I was, you and I met 3.5 years ago now. When I was fresh, newly sober in LA is when we met. And I think you had a few years then. How much time do you have now?
I have 4 years on the 1st of December.
4 years on December. Okay, so that's what it was. But you've been back and forth, though. So now you and I, we go back to Jersey. That's where we both started at. We both met in LA, but we both started our run, in Jersey. How old were you when you first started, drinking and, using?
By the time I was in 8th grade, I think I started smoking bud in, 7th or 8th grade, and I started just, I was a fucking stoner kid in 8th grade, dude. Just smoked weed, skated with my friends. We used to, at that time, 8th grade, we started smoking weed a lot and trying to hide it. And because of where we lived, we were able to go to the boardwalk and we all put our money in and bought a bubbler and bowls and bongs and shit like that. And we would smoke it in my one friend's basement and just shit like that. Soda cans, fucking Gatorade bottles. And then
Gatorade bottles were used for so much illegal shit, growing up, between smoking out over, I was walking around Mount Ephraim with, vodka in my Gatorade bottle all the time as, 8th grader, walking around town, for the night with vodka in my Gatorade.
I've got some fucking stories about shit like that, too. I didn't start drinking, though, until, freshman year of high school. I was scared to drink just because my dad died as a direct result of alcoholism. I didn't know that shit at the time. I just was told if you drink, you probably be bad. Don't fucking drink.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not gonna do that. And then at this point in time, music was really influenced in my life. At this point in time, it came in earlier, but like skating and music came in really young. But then by the time I was in 9th grade, a freshman in high school, that was it. I was gonna play in a band. I didn't fucking care about anything else. And
what kind of music did you play? Pop punk?
No, at that time I was really heavily involved in the hardcore scene. I came up in that scene. There was a lot of pop punk bands.
That was my next guess. That was because in Jersey, those were the two biggest things to have bands for in high school.
I ended up playing in a lot of pop punk bands somehow. It just always happens. But
it was the 2000s. Pop punk bands were everywhere.
But at that time, it was really hardcore, and I was fortunate enough to grow up, in Jersey. There's a huge music scene, especially where I grew up. It really thrived there. So influenced by all different types of fucking bands and shit. Obviously, there's a lot of fucking parties going on and shit like that. Started drinking, immediately blacking out, and getting arrested, and that's when.
How old were you when your dad died?
I was 4. I never met him.
Okay, so you wouldn't have even even if you would have met him, you wouldn't have even had the memories as much, by 4.
And
but
when I drank, I don't really even remember the first time I drank. I know the first time I got drunk though. That I do remember. We were in my boy's basement and we were playing dodgeball with basketballs and shit. And
sounds like Jersey.
Yeah, and someone hit me in the face with one, and my fucking nose started bleeding. But I didn't even trip out or anything. I was like, "This is sick." I the big
Well,
deal.
you were a skater. You still are a skater. So getting hurt is like code. It's like, so like bleeding is like
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah, you're supposed to bleed.
And then I didn't start doing like. So I got locked up when I was 16 for a year, and then
For drinking related or?
fighting. Every time there was all alcohol. Every time if I drink, I get arrested. That's like what the fucking theme was for like a long time. It wasn't like intentional. I didn't wake up thinking like I'm gonna get drunk tonight and fucking end up in a jail cell or
Not
police.
many of us, yeah, have that like, idea of like, I know I'm gonna get arrested tonight and it'll be sick. Like that's
Like, and at that time there were a lot of local shows going on. So like mainly I'd get arrested. We would like pre-game in the parking lot or on the way to the show, go to the show, get fucked up at the show. You know how Jersey, someone would get pushed, and that yeah, and then
especially those kind of shows too. You're
yeah,
talking like crazy mosh pits and shit. Like you're talking like people are throwing fists just to throw fists.
yeah,
Like
like there's a lot of fucking ego involved back in the day.
so we grew up around the same time in Jersey with the same kind of shit. So yeah, those scenes were crazy, especially back in the mid 2000s. Like was this like 2005ish? I'm
Oh
guessing.
yeah, it was fucking thriving at that point. It
Yeah.
was definitely alive. Came home, wasn't really. I was just kind of floating around, doing my own thing, trying not to get in trouble. And then I was still drinking and shit, but I miraculously graduated from high school, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna focus on music. None of that happened. I was still like playing in some bands and shit, but like I started doing heroin. Went straight to heroin. My boy just got out of jail, had nowhere to go. Moved in with my mom and I, and yeah, dude. Like I remember the day it fucking he had like done it. He started doing so. He went to jail, right? Because like this is a bunch long story. He goes to fucking Monmouth County Jail for a minute. He comes home. Never did opiates though. But before when he got out of county, he went to like fucking New Hope or some program or some shit, and he met some chick. She did heroin, lived in Asbury, the get down and fucking. So he started doing dope with her. He was staying with me and being sneaky about it, not because like he was a scumbag or anything. He just like didn't want me to do it. The day I confronted him about it, I was like, "Yo, I want to do dope," and he just looked at me and said, "No," and I was like, "Why not?" And he was like, "Because I know how you are." He's like, "I'm not going to be responsible for fucking up your life." And I was like, well, I do that on my own anyway, like all the time. So if you don't get it for me, I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and at that point
But
he has to make the decision of do I go to where I know it's safest and get it for him because I know it's like a harm reduction thing at that point,
yeah,
which you know.
he was gonna go get high with her, and she was gonna come over, and we were just gonna get fucked up at my house because like my house was the spot, and she was like, "Nah, I'm not doing dope with him, not with someone for the first time," kind of thing. So he hit up the other homie who's like strung the fuck out at this point. I wasn't even like friends with him, but I remember him because he was a couple grades older than me and shit. And yeah, they fucking we went to Trenton. We didn't even go to Asbury. We went to Trenton, got bags. I sniffed my first bag of heroin ever in the parking lot of Trenton Thunder baseball stadium.
I know exactly where you were. Yeah.
Threw up all over the place. Man, that fucking started that.
Yeah. It's so funny that you're like that started that. So cuz you're like I sniffed it, I threw up everywhere and then I was hooked. Most people when they try something and then immediately have the reaction of vomiting, they're like I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
But, what was it that you were just like, "Oh no, it's okay. I'll vomit every time if I get this."
Fucking sounds and cliche, bro, with the whole like program shit.
It's supposed to.
Specifically, when I found opiates like heroin, I was like, this is what I've been looking for.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was the aha moment.
yeah.
Yep.
I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'll feel like this forever. That's it.
And that's why I never tried heroin. because I was afraid of that reaction because I had that reaction with pills, and I had it is the same shit, but it's obviously stronger. You know, one
I don't know,
stronger.
bro. I shot some Oxy 80s, and that was fucking magical. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Well, you got in before they went to the OPs, obviously. Then if you were shooting it, but yeah, the Oxy was different than the Roxy too. Let's be real. Like Oxy and Roxy, were two. I was just explaining this to my wife the other day. She's what I call real deal alcoholic. She drank. So she's not sure of how the opiate scale goes and everything with like how Roxy's are and with fentanyl and heroin. So I was trying to like explain how like Oxy's played in because we just finished watching that Dope Sick show.
Yeah,
So
dude, we just watched it. It's good.
it was real good. It was extremely accurate, obviously, because we saw that shit happen with the Oxy.
I guess there were some moments watching that show where my mind wanted to glorify some shit, but like, it's weird. I feel like it was like our generation's like fucking Quaalude.
That's exactly what it was. I mean,
I mean that we got it, but what I want to do, or I'm trying to figure out, is so you know how they had to like settle that like 4.3 billion or whatever to like pay out to anyone who was like, bro, I had a crooked doctor. I
yeah,
feel like I should be compensated.
you could. It depends only if you were prescribed specifically Oxy. So if you were prescribed specifically Oxy brand, then I think you can jump in the lawsuit no matter how crooked your doctor was. Because I was everyone was fucking doctor shopping around Jersey.
Fucking sell it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were going around probably the same doctors.
I was going there.
Were you getting Oxy or Roxy from your crooked doctor?
Both, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting Roxy. Oxy didn't exist anymore when I went to my crooked doctor. It was the OPs and the OCs were gone. And then that's when I was getting the first time I went and saw my crooked, it was in something with an Merchantville, and he got shut down in 2015, so I don't even mind putting it out there. It was in this weird house like along the railroad tracks. And when I walked in there, I was like, yep, 120 30s and 120 bars. He was like, all right, here you go. And you're in the waiting room with like 50 other people that are crazy.
My waiting room, so this is how I got put on. My boy hit me up. I was fucking dope sick. And actually, at this point in time, I cleaned up. Like, I wasn't doing heroin. I was just like doing 30s and oxys because that was like the fucking in thing. And my boy hit me up and was like, yo, I need you to go to the doctor for me. I have a doctor. I'm gonna give you the money, but he couldn't go in because he had like just gone in. He was like flipping them and shit. He's like, I'll give you whatever you want out of this, but you can't ever go back on your own. I was like, yeah, whatever. At the time, I didn't care. So like, I got there. He hands me $200. I go into the doctor. It said cash only. You're not allowed to use your cell phone when you're in there. There was like 30 other people. I see the doctor, this little woman. She just wrote me a fucking script. Of 30s at that point in time. And then when I went back on my own, I started getting oxys because I asked her.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's you described exactly what it was like. The waiting room was always the same, and it was even crazier on Tuesday nights or Thursday nights when they would be nighttime hours. And then you had the people that are coming after their shift. And then you get there like at 4:00 and you're waiting until 7 for your appointment because of how long the line is. But it's so funny because your doctor is like mine because we needed referrals from other patients to see our doctors. That's how you know it's shady. Is when you don't need a doctor referral to see their doctor. You need a patient referral.
Bro, they had a pharmacy which was sick. Like when I would get 30s, I'd go into the.
Were you going to Pittman? There was one in Pittman like that had a pharmacy attached to a pill mill.
I think it was South River. It was like more. And
yeah, this was a while ago.
Yeah, it was like 2009, and dude, the fucking pharmacy was the jam too. Because like I would go in there and I would be like. Because they tried some bullshit one time giving me the V's, and I was like, no, like I want the. I was like, I need the A215s or the M30s, and like they would like let me pick. It was sick.
The V's, oh my, that's so because like I've talked to people that were into 30s, like I was too, and like some people actually love the V's. surprisingly, they've told me they love. I'm like, I don't know, man. Everybody in New Jersey though fucking hated V's,
They were
and
garbage.
I broke out in hives every time I used them. Like my face would get all blotchy every time I use V's, but the M's and the A's and even the K9s never broke out.
Bro,
But V's, I always broke out.
You know what was better than Oxys or fucking Roxys? The Opanas.
I've had that.
Bro, it was fantastic.
Yeah, there was a lot of things, we created, and I was creating my own Quaaludes. I always say that, like, I was my own pharmacist and my own therapist, right? Like, I was mixing, the Oxy or Roxy with the Xanax, hoping that the effect would give me a Quaalude-like effect. Because the Quaalude effect is part Xanax with, like, the benzo and bringing you down, and there's also a painkiller, too. And I was trying to, like, combine them to mix the two, and then eventually I'm like, well, I want to die, so I'll mix in some Coke with these lines too, because that was, like, towards the end. Now, you were, like, run, like, you kept getting arrested eventually, though, right?
So, well, at this point in time, I'm already kicked the fuck out of my house. I was, like, playing in pop punk bands, weirdly, whichever band I could play in at the time, and which is kind of really hard to do when you're physically addicted to opiates. And, like, I was straying away from the 80s and shit because they went up to like $50 fucking $60. And I was like, fuck this, I'm going to camping, because I was living in South Jersey at the time. And that's when I started shooting dope again. And
you just reminded me, actually, I had a dude on my show early on, and I had to take the episode down because the video got fucked up. But he was shooting heroin as in a hardcore band in LA, and you went to rehab with him.
Really?
Yeah.
In LA?
Yeah. Yeah, him and I were talking. I wish I could think of his fucking name. He's like a bigger dude, long goatee. But he still, like, plays in bands and shit. If I think of his name, I'll message it to you eventually. Yeah, but you and him went to rehab together. And it just reminded me, because you were saying playing in bands while you're on opiates, because that's exactly what he talked about in his story, was being in this traveling band while being high on heroin and trying to, like, do both. And then we found out by talking that, yeah, he was in rehab with you. He's like, oh, I know someone from New Jersey from, rehab. And then, like, we started talking, and it was you.
I've been to a lot.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. I mean, I met you at like 3 different meetings when I first met. I knew you bounce all around LA. So, but you're getting arrested now in Jersey. You're kicked out of your mom's. You're going to Camden to school all the time. You're living in South Jersey.
Dude, I don't even remember. Dude, I was just getting arrested left and right. Dude, it's like once it started happening, it just didn't stop. And then, yeah, man, fucking, I would go to county. That was like my cycle, bro. I'd go to county. First, I would not go to county. Like, I just kept, like, dipping and dodging and not getting arrested. And then, I caught a charge, fucking got arrested, went to county for, like, 7 months, and then that's when everything just started. It was like I was just always in jail. And then I would be homeless, get out, go straight to shooting dope. There's no music, there's no skating, there's no friends. I had this running partner of a girl, and we would just live out of hotels in Camden and shit. Well, Cherry Hill, right outside of Camden.
Yeah. Yeah, right on 70 or 38 right there.
Yeah, dude, fuck those cops, bro.
Yep. Well, they're looking for you.
Yeah, I was at the Hillside Inn. Like, I'm not dumb, but...
Yeah. I was going to say, they're not looking for you, but they are. They're looking for anybody that could be like you. Yeah. Like, you're not the first person to go to that hotel to do some dumb shit or do some shady shit.
This episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet. I can do this in a basement. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. So if you can help out, we do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to, and, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on, and goes towards keeping the internet on. So please, if you can get $5, $10, $20, it doesn't matter. Anything you can is so appreciated. And if you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can reach out to me, and we can talk about how you can be a sponsor. But I'll let you get back to the episode.
All right, so this is how I started getting sober. I went to county, got put on probation. I guess I never reported. They were like, you're gonna leave Friday. You get sentenced on Friday. We're gonna give you probation. I was like, sick. Like, you have 2 weeks to report or some shit like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Never reported. I was immediately getting high. And then, that first day you wake up to, oh, sick. I'm not going to probation. Fuck that. So, took it on the run. And I did that a couple of times. I would get locked up, do the same thing again. And they would fucking reinstate me and release me. And I was like, sick. So then the last time, I would get caught in Camden, right? Like Camden County. So I'd go to Camden County Jail, go to 7-day, then the sheriffs from Monmouth County would pick me up and bring me to Monmouth County, and then I would just sit there for fucking ever. And then on the last time, bro, the ATF kicked in our hotel door, which is super embarrassing because I got arrested in the same hotel in the same room twice, on the run twice. And
it would be the same cops or different cops at least?
Well, the last time, bro, this shit was crazy. The last time, this is the setting. We were in the hotel. We were smoking crack, and it was dope sick as fuck. And the homie had dropped off some rock and was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go to the store. I'll come back and give you dope." And I was upset about it, but he was giving me free shit, so I wasn't gonna argue. And I heard a knock on the door. Never answered the door. I would never answer the door, but I heard a knock on the door. I thought it was him because he'd just fucking been there. And I answered. It was like a fiend, bro, like a dirty fiend. You know how the hotels are over there. So I was like, "Oh, bro, you got the wrong room." He's like, "Is Brian here?" And I was like, "Nah." And he looked at me and looked at fucking girl. And
the cops sent him up there to see who was in there.
Bro, no, listen to this shit, bro. So he goes, "Are you sure?" And he puts his foot in the door, and I thought we were gonna get robbed. So those glass fucking ashtrays, the big
Oh yeah.
Picked it up. I was gonna have to smash this shit over that fool's head because I thought we were getting robbed for a second. And thank God I didn't, because as soon as I stand up, he throws a badge out, and state police, ATF, fucking all types of shit running. They're like, "Where are the guns? Where are the guns? Where are the guns?" And they're looking for stolen guns that apparently I had stolen.
I was gonna say, yeah, that doesn't sound like.
And no, it was bad, bro. They were looking for stolen state police officer assault rifles from homes and shit. And I had been knocked off for some burger. I don't know, dude. It's a long story. I got snitched on. This is over 10 years ago now, and it still fucking bothers me. From time to time, I think about it, and I'm like, who the fuck said I was there? I just don't know.
Yeah. But, cause I'm just trying to piece it together. Somebody robbed a state police officer.
Yeah, it was out of Monmouth County, bro.
And so they just assumed it was you, probably because you did B&Es or you did shady shit, or you had a track record, or.
Bro, it was fucking bullshit. Someone fucking got in trouble and told, bro. That's what happened.
They needed to say a name, so they said a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
But it still bothers me. And
put it on your fourth step.
One of those things where you run it over your head a million times. I'm like, who the fuck was it, bro?
Has it been sitting on your fourth step for 4 years? Every time you go through.
Resentment, bro. I'm just like, who the fuck? Who?
So it's not even a resentment, it's just something that pops in your head as a curiosity at this point.
Yeah.
It doesn't upset you to the point where it's a resentment, but it just pops in your head as what the fuck? Yeah.
So then I go to Camden County, same routine again. Mom comes to pick me up, go to Monmouth. This time though, I knew it was fucked because this woman came onto the tier, handed me a piece of paper, and she was like, "This is your termination. You have court in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Fuck." because I'm not even done kicking dope yet. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, I can't go to prison yet. I needed to like push this shit off. You know what I mean? Like I'm smoked. Like I'm going downstate. Like they terminated me. And that's what happened. But they offered me drug court, and I denied drug court just because like at that point in time I had like wanted to get so. I didn't necessarily want to be sober, but like I didn't want to like live the way that I was living. I definitely knew I didn't want to do opiates anymore. I just wasn't like grasping an idea of like I don't even like weed, but I was like, well, I still want to smoke weed. I don't even smoke. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I took time over that, and then when I came home, I went to a fucking Oxford house, which is like a sober living, and I had maxed out, so I had no parole or anything. Like I was completely done. My hands were free and clean, but I knew that like if I went to South Jersey, I was gonna get high. I couldn't go home. I convinced my mom to get me in this fucking sober house, like in Freehold, and that's what I did for a minute. And then relapse, went to Florida, which is
When were you in Florida?
right,
Everybody went to Florida.
right before I came here.
Okay. So like is that like 2016, 15?
No, before 2015, bro. I wasn't even home like a full year before I went to Florida.
Oh, okay. So, and you were going to Florida with the intention to continue getting high or to get sober?
No, I went to treatment. Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna keep hearing about it. I'm gonna go check that out. I went to Delray.
Everybody else from Jersey is going to Florida for treatment.
Yeah. I was like, I want to see Delray. Everyone talks about Delray.
Yeah,
So,
I went to school with a dude that ended up starting a sober living in Delray in like 2000. He went down there for treatment, and then he started a sober living and a treatment center down there, and now he is caught up with racketeering charges like $52 million for insurance fraud and all that shit because people were dying in his rehabs because all he was doing was collecting UAs and charging
there,
up. What?
halfway there,
Yeah, Eric Schneider.
I was across. I watched that happen.
Oh shit! I'm gonna take out the last name, but yeah, you watch that happen.
Literally watched that happen. I was going to Angels IOP at the time. It was fucking gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2014, 15. Yeah, that would make sense that you would have been down there then when they got raided, right?
Yeah, it was right on Swinton. I watched that shit happen. And that other fool, Kenny's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched all that shit happen.
That's right. Cause yeah, he had a partner. But yeah, I grew up with Eric. You know what I mean? Like
What?
He's from South Jersey, dude.
I didn't know that. Funny
Yeah.
story though. So I was with another homie in Florida one time, and we were like walking out of Publix, and some fucking dude drove by in a car and was like, "Fuck you, Eric Snyder, you piece of shit," talking to my boy, but like it wasn't him.
Just some other like bigger dude, like
Yeah.
a stockier dude. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, he went down there for pills, opiates to get clean, and then he started that sober living, and then started all that shit, and yeah,
I don't know,
he's
bro.
we don't know him.
Nah,
Yeah,
bro. I knew of him because like I was there and like, and I lived in the sober living I was at was like across the street.
was your
So
sober living as like fucked as that one was, where like you could easily get high in it?
yo, surprisingly not. Like there was a lot of fuckery going on, but like if you failed, like you were out.
Now, but I mean, not to say that you failed, but you did relapse after that treatment, right? Again.
Not in.
Not in Florida, but again in real
Oh,
life.
yeah.
That
As soon
wasn't
as
the end of the
so
road.
I was supposed to come to LA from Florida, not for like treatment or anything. I was just gonna move here, and I was gonna work in the skate industry actually, and which I ended up doing. It just took a little bit, and
Had some speed bumps.
yeah, because so instead of coming straight here, I was like, I'm gonna go to Jersey, chill there for a little bit, then I'm gonna go to LA. I was in Jersey for like 2 days, and some chick posted something on like Instagram or some shit, and like I saw the location, and I was like, I was in like Bordentown or like Florence or one of those fucking towns at the time, and I was like, she's either leaving Camden or Trenton. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Yo, dude, what's good? Like, how you been? I'm back from Jersey or Florida. You know what I mean?" She's like, "Oh, dude, what's up?" And she's like, "I was in Florida too." And I was like, "Sick. You sober?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Sick. Me too." She comes over because we're at my friend's house, and she's high as fuck. She drops like a bundle of dope, and we like lock eyes, and I was like, "Let me get a bag." She argued with me, and then she gave us some bags, and then that started that. And then I ended up coming to LA, and I went to CRLA, which is no longer around. The Chris Batham dude.
Yeah, and we'll get to that because that's I remember parts of that. So you went to Jersey, you got high, and you stayed high for a couple of days, and then left and went to LA.
No,
Or no? Okay, so that's what I mean. You
I don't
relapsed with this
feel like,
girl, but then you probably hung around for how long?
like 2 months maybe. It
And wh-
wasn't a long run. It was just a really fucking hard run. Like it got bad quick.
yeah, I
And
mean, and that's the
probably the
thing about
shortest
relapses.
I've ever had.
What?
It's like the shortest run I've ever had.
And that's the thing about relapses, and that's something I'm like kind of trying to push awareness on this time of year, because this episode is going to come out in December. When's your birthday? Your
December.
4 year? December 1st. All right, then I'll put this up on December 1st as your 4 year.
Okay.
Um, so because I'm trying to raise awareness around the relapse rates and overdose rates around the holidays. So
Yeah.
I'm putting out an episode a day from Thanksgiving to New Year's to try to get as many stories out there as possible. And what's hilarious is, your story about getting arrested in the same motel room and everything. I talked to this dude. He wrote a book called Sober Slogans. He's like this old school, like crackhead from like the Bronx and like 80s crackhead when crack, popped off. And he got arrested at a bodega by these two cops in like 89. He did 3 years in jail. He got out of jail. He started smoking crack again. Got arrested by the same two cops at the same bodega for robbing for the same shit 3 years later.
That's amazing.
So if that makes you feel any better, that he told me that story. Because, man, I was so embarrassed. They were like, "We're having deja vu. Do we know you, guy?" He's like, "Yeah, you arrested me 3 years ago, same place." They're like, "Man, you are stupid." They're like, "Yeah, just take me to jail." Like, so now you relapse in that 2 months, because the more you relapse, it's like it goes down fast, because we have that thing of like, as addicts, well, I relapse, I might as well go hard. Like, I'm already here now. Like, who
Dude,
was
well,
I?
I was fucked because like I couldn't go home. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get high and enjoy it." I lied and told my mom I went back to Florida. Um, have you ever heard of Fuck Heroin Foundation?
Yeah.
So I'm good friends with like Frankie and Leisha and shit. So like it was so fucked. I like was on the phone with them every day, like, "Yo, I need to come back. Can you get me back out there?" And they had all these fucking like rules and stipulations I had to abide by if I was gonna come back. And what I don't know why, because I was high. I was like getting high with this girl. I was like, "Well, she's coming with me. I'm not leaving unless she comes with me." And they were like, "That's not happening." They're like, "You're coming here." And I was like, "Okay." So I kept pushing off the flight. Lied to my mom. Told her I was in Florida. And then I guess my boy ended up in Florida and was with like fucking Frankie, and they were talking, and they got it in their head that they were gonna tell my mom that I'm in Jersey getting high. So so they fucking did. I freaked out on them, and then they were like, "Are you ready to go to treatment?" And I was like, "If she comes with me." And they were like, "Well, it's not happening. So you can stay homeless in Camden with her, or you can get on a plane and go to California." And I was like, "That sounds cool." I was like, "Oh, I'm down with that, bro.
It's
Yeah,
almost like you forgot about LA, like all your plans of going to
yeah,
LA
yeah,
for a minute. And you're like, "Oh, yeah, LA. I got a flight. Cool."
yeah, yeah." No, like everything changed in that moment. I was like, "Yeah, let's fucking go." Really sad story. The last bag of dope I ever shot, I missed because I was at this hotel, not in Cherry Hill. I think It's one of those other towns right there. Maybe, I forget. But I was staying away from Cherry Hill at that point in time. And it was like, I was flying out of Philly, and my mom banged on my hotel door at like 5 in the morning, bro. I don't know why she thinks we need to get to the airport 5 hours in advance all the time, but that's just how it was.
My
And
mom's the same way. That's
so she bangs on the hotel. She's like making a scene and shit too. It's like 5 in the morning. I'm fucking dope sick. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? You need the show? Like, go to the car. I'll be out. I'm ready. I have one bag of dope and a janky ass rig that's all fucked up that I've been using. You know what I mean? So I already got abscesses and shit. And I go in the bathroom to do it, and I'm like having a hard time hitting because I'm really sick. It's the only bag I have, and like I can't miss. I pull back, see blood. I go to push off. As soon as I go to push off, my mom's like, boom, 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 bangs on the fucking door. I miss my bag. Now I'm really upset, and we're like, I remember being in the car with her, driving over the bridge into Philly, and her hitting the child safety lock because I kept trying to jump out on the bridge. Not to like kill myself or anything, but I was like, you need to stop the car so I can go, because I had like $40. I was like, I'm not getting on this airplane. Like, I'm not going. She's like, if you don't go, I'm gonna talk to you again. I'm like, I will go, but I can't do this. Like, I can't fly dope sick. I can't do that. And like, needless to say, she did not stop, and I got on the plane dope sick. Well, I wasn't like sick yet.
Was it a direct flight at least?
No.
I had a layover in Chicago on my flight from Philly to LAX.
I don't remember where it was, but I know it was a fucking direct flight. I wish it was. And
I was high for my flight, so we didn't.
I
But
wish.
But it wasn't a good high though. For what it's worth, my last high was not the high I was looking for either. You know what I mean? Like I can't even tell you the last time I did 30s because I had to do 15s. You know, like I was paying my buddy to drive across the bridge from Jersey to come to the hotel that I was at with my mom outside the Philly airport. Like my mom had driven us from Lancaster County to the Philly airport, like hotels for the night, and then I was hopping on the 6 a.m. flight out to LAX, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna have some dude bring shit out to me. I still have the whole text messages. I saw him the other day because I was looking for something else. And I was saying to the dude, "Where you at? Where you at? I already sent you money." Blah blah blah. He was like, "I can't find shit. Sorry, I can't send you money back. We're kind of fucked." He was just fucking me out of money because he knew I was going to rehab anyway, and he would be able to get some money out of me. So finally, I got somebody else that was like, and this guy is sober now too, thank God. But him and I did a lot of selling together around town, and he was like, "Hey, I can get you 15s if you want 15s. That's all I got you is the green monsters." And I'm like, "All right, bring them." So I had to, sniff a bunch of these 15s because at the time I ordered 730s to do that night before I got on the plane. So I had to do 14 15s up my nose in the bathroom, my mom outside the bathroom, knowing that I was getting high in the bathroom with me going like constantly.
Yeah, dude, it's just like disappointing shit. Like, you ever sniff a bird?
Oh my God, it's the grossest shit. That's how I started.
It's so much.
It's
so much better to just eat it.
Yeah,
but,
well, no, yeah, that's because
you want to sniff some things, or you're like, no.
Yeah, I remember the first. It was during the Super Bowl of 2009, and we couldn't find pills anywhere. We had just gotten into 30s and just got into everything. It was January 2009, watching the Super Bowl. We couldn't find shit that night, though. All I could find was my friend had a script of 65s left. So we bought all 60 of them and started breaking them up, bro. There was like a 65s. Yes, so 30 10s. So it wasn't, there was like 4 of us, and we're just banging up all these 5s along this coffee table to have giant mounds. We should just fucking ate them. We didn't know. We were 3 months into doing pills, really. We didn't know like what to do, when to do it, how to do it. We're just like breaking them up.
Back to the dope sick thing, the show. Biggest pet peeve with the entire show. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I actually learned a lot from it, like behind the scenes type shit from that.
Yeah.
and things like that. But I did not see one hose clamp shaving the pills down,
I know.
bro,
Yeah.
and that was the move.
I said I was saying to my wife, I was like, they're doing that different than I'm used to. You know what I mean? Like
You
this.
didn't just crush, or what you do is you fold it inside the money like a dollar bill, and then crush it with the lighter, and then
Yeah. Yep. Don't worry. And anyone who's worried about we're talking about doing drugs, those drugs do not exist anymore to do. Oxy has not been able to be broken up into powder form since 2010. I want to say, like I think that it was 2009 when they put in the order that they couldn't be, that kind of formula anymore, and then they were like hanging around for like a year out of old pharmacies.
But you know what's pretty accurate too about this show, which it was reverse. I did dope and then pills and then back to dope, but a lot of people did go to fucking pills, and then when it got too expensive, they were like, let's just get heroin.
Yep. And that's a lot of people I know. We all started out doing pills together. Like I still blame myself, even though I shouldn't. And we all make our decisions as addicts, right? That time when I don't know if it ever happened to you, but like I've sold shit to somebody that eventually died 2 weeks later. I was told, hey, don't sell anything to him because he just got back from rehab. And then when that dude hit me up, he was like, no, I already relapsed. So you're not relapsing me by selling to me. And I'm like, okay. And then 2 weeks later, he's in jail because of a heroin charge and he hangs himself.
Oh shit.
So like I was like 5 months into my addiction at that point.
I mean, that's like, oh, bro.
No, I know it's not my fault now, but in that moment, I'm like, oh shit, that I caused that. And there's a lot of that. I could see that on like the doctor's face, like in Dope Sick, when he would hear about that. And like, there are some, not spoiler, but somebody's gone, from his life. And when that happened to him, I could see his face going like, what do you mean she's in heaven? I'm supposed to take her for Suboxone today.
Yeah.
How many times was somebody supposed to go for, Suboxone appointment or to the treatment and then they overdosed the night before?
Yeah, dude, it's fucked.
And that part was like extremely like accurate and just like kind of like gasping, where you're like, oh, like I remember that shit. Like I remember seeing that shit or hearing about it. So now you go to LA and now you're going to a new treatment center. What's up with this treatment center?
Bro, so I fucking get here, I'm throwing up on Melrose because that's where like.
Oh, because you haven't done shit. That's right. Yeah.
So,
okay.
And these motherfuckers, bro. So I go to meet the doctor. So that's where you meet the doctor on the Melrose location, and he's like giving me a list of things. He's like, unfortunately, we don't treat opiates here with like opiate medication. So like he was telling me that I wasn't getting Suboxone or like Subutex. And I started freaking out. I was like, bro, I could have went to county for this. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm about to kick cold turkey. They gave me like gabapentin.
Yeah, so that's good for restless legs, and that's it.
So that's how I kicked opiates at this fucking treatment center. I'm kind of glad I did, though. I mean,
no, that's honestly, bro, that's how I did it too. I only took GABA and melatonin. I refused subs. They were going to give me subs, and the only thing I was taking was GABA for restless legs and melatonin to help me go to sleep at night. But I wasn't even taking their trazodone.
If I was in Jersey, I would have left. Even Florida. But I didn't know shit out here, so I was fucked. I was stuck, and I was like, I didn't want to get high, but I didn't want to be sick. You know what I mean? So I just stayed and dealt with it. Like I've caked cold turkey in county a bunch of times, but I think it's so much easier when you're locked up as opposed to like being in a detox where it's cold turkey, because it's so much more mentally challenging to like really force yourself to be when you can leave.
Yeah, because and everyone thinks like when we go to rehab, if you haven't been to rehab, if you think that we're locked in rehab, they tell us in rehab the doors are unlocked at all times. You can leave whenever the fuck you want. We are invited to leave rehab whenever we want. If we don't want to be there, they do not want us there because all you're doing is making it harder for anybody else to stay sober if you're being like a problem there. So there are no locks. There's no gates. It's not like a prison. You can fucking walk out whenever you want. You and I did the same thing though, is we went somewhere where we didn't know anybody. I didn't want to know anybody. Like somebody asked me like, why aren't you going to Florida? Everyone's in Florida. I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. Everybody's in Florida that I know. I don't want to know people. I don't want to know anybody when I get out there because I don't want to have a reason to be able to talk myself out of some shit because I know myself and I'm going to talk myself out of a lot of things.
I knew some people out here, but like everyone I knew out here was like pretty successful. Like they weren't fucking up, you know what I mean?
They're not gonna fuck with, like somebody that's like dope sick. That's like, come on, man, let me get a bed.
Oh yeah. Oh no, not at all. People are like starting careers and shit, like skating, playing in bands, like.
And you're just like, early December. Is this your December 1st? Is this?
No.
Okay, when?
So I stayed sober for 2.5 years, going through that program and going to sober living, and then I relapsed drinking. I didn't relapse from. So I still haven't done heroin or like drugs since then. Like that was drinking.
So you went 2.5 years, and then how long did you drink for? I didn't know about.
Like a month.
And then what was it that where you were like, okay, this is dumb?
I got ringworm from a tiger that was living at the house that I was at.
Okay. That sentence, isn't really a popular sentence.
So so much.
I got ringworm from a tiger. Is that what you said?
Fuck yeah, I don't even care. I'll say names. I was living in Studio City with some people who had a studio that worked with like a lot of elaborate people. These two brothers were Logan and Jake Paul, and I think it was. Actually, no, I think it was Logan, bro. Logan put it. No, it might have been Jake. But one of them put it on their fucking Instagram story that we had the tiger, and like cops got involved because they had like 1 million views on it within minutes. People too, they were like, "Oh, that's animal cruelty." Like nothing bad was happening. Like I bottle fed it and shit. But
I didn't know you were ever hanging out with them. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll even take out their names, but like,
it wasn't a choice. It just fucking happened, bro.
Were you drinking then?
Oh yeah, I got fucked up at one of the parties.
Okay.
I had some good time. Like nothing bad happened from that relapse. I was just really depressed. I was more depressed at an emotional bottom that I had never touched before.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah, because I felt that, dude. Like I don't know if you know, but I had a relapse since like 3.5 years with drinking too. I still haven't done a pill in 3.5 years, but my sober date has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't. It was. I had. Me and you talked about it. The problem I had with my AA group in Hershey, when I got my 1-year chip because they weren't like cool with me using cannabis, and it eventually caused me to drink again. Like that resentment that I had for them having a resentment caused me to drink, and I blame that on myself.
I mean, dude, I think what works for you might not work for other people.
Yeah, and I learned that.
I don't necessarily advocate it, but I'm not going to shun it. Like, if you found something that works for you and it's working for you, I think it's good to educate other people on, like, the things that, like, what you're doing specifically is, like, okay, yes, it's an... Dude, whatever. If you're going to fucking... Even if you're high, even if you're shooting heroin and you're going to a fucking meeting, like, okay, maybe they don't want you to take a chip.
Maybe they don't want you to talk
if
you're high in a meeting.
Tell you that you're not allowed to come to a meeting when the primary purpose of the program is to help people who are still using. Not saying that you're using by using cannabis, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean.
By their logic, they're thinking that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how I felt it, and I felt their thinking, and then that kind of resentment that I had for them. It's weird having a resentment over a resentment. You know what I mean? It's like I resent them for their resentment against me, and then I'm the one that caused myself to drink over that shit. And I don't care because I never drank alcoholically in that 9 months. That's the thing is I would go to like a comedy club and I would have a few drinks or whatever. I wasn't like, drinking a lot. And then eventually, I woke up with a hangover and that's when my mind went to, well, before when you had a hangover, you drank more or you got high, or I guess I got to quit because I don't want to have these hangovers, and I drank a bottle of Jack. And then plus the date was 2/29. And I'm like, holy shit, if I stop now, my sober date will be leap day. So I was like, that's a sign. And my wife and I haven't drank since.
That's dope.
So
So like what? How kind of like how I got sober or like came back from that was I had woke up one day and I was just really, like I said, really depressed. I had fucking ringworm from that tiger, which wasn't cool. Um, I was just living all over the place. I didn't have my own place to live. Always had a place to go, but like in a really nice house in a fucking mansion. But I was like, you know what I mean? I didn't feel safe and secure, and like I was just like, I'm not doing.
yeah, because they would do crazy shit though
And
for the content. So you were like,
and I
yeah,
wasn't doing anything productive for myself. And honestly, I was hanging out with people I didn't like. You know what I mean? I was like, this is
yeah.
fucking lame. And I woke up one day and I wanted to get high. Like, and I didn't want to do tar because I was like, fuck that. And I was scared. I'm not just going to go back to Jersey. And I didn't want to go on a run. I don't know what I was thinking. I just knew I wanted an opiate. And I started like with like, the addict alcoholic mind thinking like, oh, maybe I could do some 30s. Maybe I could find some 30s out here. And it scared the shit out of me. And then ironically, universally, a friend had called me and was like, hey, what are you doing? I heard you relapse. I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you want to go to a meeting? And I was like, not really, but I'll go.
And that's when you went to that meeting. Was that when you started going to Marina Center?
I mean, I've been going to Marina Center for fucking years.
Sean. His name was Sean that you went to rehab with. And I don't remember his last name, but it's probably on my Facebook somewhere. But his name was Sean, and he was like a bigger dude. I think he had glasses, maybe. I don't fucking remember, but Sean was his name. He remembered you at least. So I think we're all mutual friends on Facebook now. Because that's what it was too. Because I was like, hey man, yeah, I do see him. We're all friends on Facebook or whatever. But anyway, okay, so now you didn't when December 1st is your sober date, you didn't have to go to treatment for that one?
No, I had an apartment. I was living downtown LA at that time, and had a studio. I had a sick studio, and yeah, just got sober there. Went to
And that's
meetings.
when you started going to meetings and shit and
Well, I
finding.
already like had an experience with like being sober and working the steps and everything. Like, dude, like literally, I just stopped going to meetings and I got really resentful. Stopped fucking applying anything I learned. I was like, fuck God, fuck AA. I don't like anything. I don't like anyone. And I was just living in a lot of self, and I got super dry and miserable.
Okay, so that makes sense then. Like that you worked a program the first time. It was just a matter of getting you back into the swing of things because you had
Yeah,
kind of lost your way with that.
dude, pretty much I was just being a little bitch.
When did you get back into skating then?
Well, that whole time. So, like, when I came out here, I was like, I'm not going to play music anymore. I don't think it's healthy. I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have anyone to play with. And then, like I said, I was supposed to come out here originally. I'm sorry, dude. There's so much shit.
Yeah.
I was supposed to come out here originally and work in the skate industry and shit like that. And I just started skating when I got out here, but then I think when I was in sober living, I ended up working at this one shop at LA Skate Shop, which is the oldest skate shop in Los Angeles in history for this dude Dave White. And he introduced me to like a shit ton of people, which was fucking tight. I got paid horrible, horrible money, but it supported my skateboarding habit. I got to like, fucking meet like idols of mine from when I was a kid. Because, like with an addict mentality, like way before it's ever a drink or a drug, like you get really like
Obsessive.
I get obsessive over shit. So when I was a kid, skating, music, skating, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? fucking drugs. And then,
Yep. No, I get it. There's the same thing though. You're obsessive about things, whether they're even TV shows that you watch over and over, playing sports, doing certain things. You're obsessive over it. And were you obsessed with that? What was that movie? I'm blanking on the name. Because obviously skateboarding was born in like Venice, right? Like
the Dogtown shit.
Yeah, Lures of Dogtown.
Yeah, I met that one fool. He's sober. I guess that's
what's his name?
Tony Alva.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like working in the skate industry, and yeah, man, just doing my thing, staying sober, living life, and then when I got sober again, I was just skating. I don't know. I was doing like resale for like clothing, like the drops and shit like that. Like
yeah, you grab up get them while the regular price and then resell them for the higher markup. Yeah.
And I was making good fucking money, and then until I wasn't, I fucked up. It's like selling drugs, you know what I mean? I fucked up one time, messed my money up, and then I was like, maybe I should get a job. I don't know what to do, you know what I mean? And then
because LA had huge drop shipments of they would be the ones getting the product, and then people like you were the ones selling it across the country. Like, what was that one? Supreme? Is that the name? Like, I'm not into fashion and shit.
I had a lot of Supreme shit.
Yeah. But they're the company that they would do drops and shit where somebody like you would grab the drop and then resell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. And then it's all like exclusive because they only drop so many every time, right?
Yeah, dude, you could fucking resell. You like a black logo hoodie, like the box one. You could get that shit for like maybe $300. Resell that for like 1,400.
Fucking crazy for a piece of wood. Like that just, it's crazy. So now what do you do? So obviously you've been through a bunch of holidays now, like in sobriety. So what is it that gets you through, this is obviously the hardest time of year for all of us, or a lot of us to get through. So like, what is it for you?
Right now, bro, where I'm at now, my life is very, very, very busy. Quality problems. It's fucking sick, but like, I don't have time to be like, I want to get high. Like, I just don't have the time to like be a little bitch and be like,
So you keep yourself busy.
yeah, but like, it's like everything I have in my life has been given to me from sobriety. So like, it's just like I've stayed sober through so much, and I feel like I've grown through enough shit that like it's not even a fucking and I get the holidays are hard and could trigger people, and like it's just like it could always be worse, dude. You know what I mean? At the end of the fucking day, shit can always get fucked up. Shit can always be worse, and you just have to like. I remind myself like where I am. Like, bro, everything I have right now is fucking crazy, and I still get ungrateful at times and act like nothing's good enough or I'm not happy with where I'm going. Like I could be doing more. I need more and more shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
And then I have to remember, like, oh, dude, you were a homeless heroin addict in Camden. Like, you spent years incarcerated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
yeah, it's okay to give yourself a break. And how often do you see yourself out there still?
Well, dude, I work in treatment.
Okay.
So
you see it all the time.
Do shit every day. Fucking.
How has that been helping you working in treatment?
It's fatiguing. It's definitely, dude. If you're working in substance abuse and mental health, like a dual diagnosis place, like, dude, it's tiring. That's it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily think it affects me and my sobriety, but like, I work at a detox specifically, so it's like I see them when they're fresh in.
They're showing up to you. Most of them don't want to be there.
I mean, they don't know what they want, bro. They're on fucking drugs. And now
that's true.
I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing, bro. I was just like, I'm in detox, and I know I'm gonna be fucking violently ill for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm not excited about that. They're assholes. Some clients aren't. Some clients have mental health, and it's not fair to say that they're assholes because of their behaviors, because of their mental health. And you have to honestly remind yourself of that sometimes, because mental health is a really tricky thing, dude. It's fickle. You have to be delicate with it. You have to be very cautious of what you say to not trigger someone without even being aware that you might have triggered them. You know what I mean? And it's like,
not even like addicts and mental health either, just mental health in general, talking
yeah.
to somebody with mental health.
So like, it is important to me personally, I like working
Yeah.
in treatment. I have a career in treatment, um, outside of like music and shit, and something I'm going to continue doing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like affected me. I would definitely like to move into a different avenue of working in treatment, probably more of like a director of operations at some point. I think I would really like to structure a program as
Yeah.
opposed to like work. One-on-ones are cool, and running groups are cool, but it's like I don't even do that at a detox, dude. I do intakes, I'm fucking checking vitals, I'm making sure that like they're on grounds and like alive and not getting high. I'm just babysitting. And for the most part we just hang out until shit cracks off, and then like someone's freaking out about something. And then I
Yeah.
have to remember that, yeah, A, it's either mental health, or B, they're newly sober, which can be taxing, bro, because sometimes you just want to be like, bro, shut the fuck up. But like, you can't.
Yeah. I'm getting the mental health that come in here that are still on meth.
Dude, that is the gnarliest combination ever. Majority of the time when I've seen dual diagnosis, they stop taking their medication, which then causes their relapse.
And a lot of the time, they don't mean to stop taking their medication. It's literally that they don't remember to take their medication, and then their mind tricks them into that relapse because they're unmedicated.
Well, I've seen more of like they just wake up and they're like, no, I don't want to take it.
That I've seen that too. I mean,
Yeah.
I was
So
engaged with somebody bipolar, schizophrenic. I've seen that
yeah,
shit.
like mainly bipolar.
Yeah,
Majority, like me, what I'm talking about, like,
is and which for those of you who don't know, bipolar is the hardest thing to. It's the easiest thing to be like you're bipolar, and the hardest thing to medicate. Like when I say easiest, I mean for a
yeah.
doctor, for a
Well,
professional doctor
well,
to diagnose it, it's
qualify
easier.
for like there's like five of them, I think, and you only
Yeah.
need like three out of the five. Like,
But the medications is where it gets tricky because everyone's is so
works.
different.
Yeah, what works for one person isn't gonna work for the next person. So it's like it's fucked up, but it's like they're guinea pigs, and they're just like, well, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. And then unfortunately, a lot of times we don't get to see the recovery aspect of it for the mental health or the substance abuse, because they don't allow it to like
It
take
doesn't play.
long enough
It
time to introduce itself into their system in order for them to like have
that's
a better reaction to the medication. So in sobriety, I went through some gnarly shit and fell into a really bad depression, and then I started thinking like maybe I'm bipolar, right? So I started researching because I was sober enough to like take a look at myself to be like maybe things are affecting me in a way that it shouldn't be affecting. You know what I mean? Like whether it was like
yeah.
someone dying, I just felt like it was taking me a long time to like process trauma and like move on from it, or at least deal with it accordingly. And I was like, I think maybe like it's not actually affecting me as much as I think that it's affecting me. Maybe there's an outside issue, like a chemical imbalance going on. So did some research. There was, I mean, like we all have chemical imbalances. We live in America and process shit. You know what I mean? And fucking breathe smog. But and vape. What I've done is I'm vegan now. I've been vegan for a minute, and I drink like alkaline water and shit. And a lot of people might not agree with all of this shit and think it's stupid, but for me personally, it was like I was against it. I was like, vegans are weak,
When
basically.
did you do it after? Did you see that documentary, Game Changer, and then do it?
Saw it after I had already
Okay.
started trying it. My girlfriend showed me that she's vegan as well.
It's a sick
It's not
documentary.
outside influenced by her. Like I did this on my own, but
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, I'll try it. And I started feeling cleaner internally, like organ wise and mentally. And my depression and anxiety, it's not like eradicated, but I feel normal. So it's like the more hydrated I am, the more healthy I eat, the more sustenance. I have like a healthy, balanced nutrition and diet, which has played such a huge aspect on my mental health. Yeah. Yeah,
So
dude, and that's fucking. I call it the universe. I say the universe a lot, dude. But yeah, man, I try and just like have more faith and trusting in the universe now. Like, I get it. I'm the same way.
yeah.
Put my mind on to this has to be like this, and I'm gonna, dude. I procrastinate. I push it. So my band right now is like working with. We're like writing a new album, doing some shit, right? So fucking, it's big. It's a bigger thing for us what we're doing right now, and I met with like a guitar player, right? Who plays in my favorite band and is working directly with me on this EP specifically. And I had a month about in advance knowing that this was gonna happen. He kept saying, "Yo, email me some shit so I can hear it." Da, da, da. I waited literally until the night before, and it was only because my girlfriend was like, "Yo, send him something now. What are you doing?" And I sent him something, and then just completely had a meltdown. Worked on an entire song with him, and then I was like, I hate it. I hate everything I do. I hate myself. But you know what I mean? I was like, I might as well just quit everything. I'm not necessarily.
I
Oh,
feel that way once a
I'm gonna
week.
go get back. I'm gonna go back to getting high. But I'm like, you might as well just go back to Jersey. You'll never amount to anything. You fuck everything up. You know what I mean? Like,
That
that's the disease, bro. That's our mind. It's so fucked.
it is, and I feel that so hard. Like I put out a new episode, and if it flops, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even putting these out? And then that one person will hit me up going, "Oh my god, that episode! I needed to hear what they said about this, that, and the third, and it made my day so much better." I'm like, that's why I still do it.
And we just take what like we learn and shit. Like, dude, like when I had like first sat down with him, he was like, "Yo, play." He wanted me to play something for him real quick that like I had like sent him like this one part of the song. And bro, I was like dumbfounded. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, dude, I was literally having like an internal fucking panic attack. I was like, I don't know what to do right now. This is horrible. And like, I just got, it's see, like, disease is weird. It's like manifested now in more of self-destructive ways for me than it is like, go get high. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Do I just
I think you're at that point also too in your recovery, to where you skip over that option. You know what I
well,
mean? It's not even an option for you when you get to
still
that
do.
mindset.
Yeah, but bro, this thing's tricky. It's still dangerous. Like, I go through weird poker phases, which can get kind of gnarly sometimes. And I'll still argue and say I don't think poker is gambling, but whatever. But fucking, I get very obsessive with that in like an unhealthy way, and I'm like aware of that.
Yeah, I did that with sports gambling in PA because it's legal in PA. It's legal to like go on FanDuel and bet on games. So I'm like, it's fine. And then like eventually I'm like, I can't do this as much. Like now I just like do it through people. Like, oh, give me $10 on that too with you, and then we'll just split it because I don't want to have to put in the bets because that's like that thing of the obsession of my mind is going all about
Like,
that now.
we build shit up, and then like literally,
We build it up and we solve our problems before we even try to attempt it
oh
because we
dude,
think it's
yeah,
going to fix everything.
I'll catastrophize the fuck out of shit. So then like the next day, I didn't hear from him, and I was just like, he hates me.
Yep.
I was like, this is it. Everything you worked for is absolutely nothing. This is stupid. Why do you even do this shit? Like, you're fucking garbage. You're trash. And like, this confirms it. And then 2 days after that, he's like, yo, my bad, bro. Like, I think he had to play a show somewhere.
Life happened, and it had nothing to do with you.
Like, I really like that part. Send shit to this email. And I was like, oh, sick.
Yep. Yeah, it's just that, and it's almost like that tortured artist thing too, though. It's extremely hard to put yourself out there and wait for a response, because I can't imagine that. Because I don't
know like, how fucking morbid I can get on here. But
you can get morbid. I mean,
my immediate response now is not relapse. It's like fucking suicide.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I'm not a suicidal person, but like my mind is just like, just fucking end it.
Yeah, no, and I'm only laughing because I'm relating, and you know that, and because for stand up, because I did stand up, so it was different for me because like I knew right away if they hated it or not. If you weren't laughing in the crowd, I knew what you thought about me already. Yeah. So for you to like send off and wait, that just like that's just fucking torture up there.
Just fucking kill yourself, Kev.
No. Well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm sure your fiance and your pups are glad you didn't. So just keep on doing what you're doing, man. That's fucking awesome. I'm glad that you're like finding yourself with, with your job and your career with treatment, but also with being creative is so important. When you are a creative person, you should be creative in some way or another.
The music, it's crazy, bro. The universe, AA, the program, like sobriety, like recovery, whatever you want to call it, it works in weird ways. I fucking had zero intentions on ever doing that shit again, bro. I was going through a lot of gnarly shit, and I just started writing and fell in love with music all over it, which is sick that we get to do shit like that. When you get sober, you like rediscover things about yourself, you know what I mean? And like,
yep.
Of course, being an addict, I got completely obsessed with a lot of shit in the scene, like I do, and fucking we all do. For me, it's music. I get obsessed with that, and fucking, it's all I'll do. You know what I mean? To an uncomfortable extent.
What's your band?
Smoker's Cough.
Smoker's Cough?
Yeah.
You guys got a link?
Soon.
But awesome, man. I appreciate you sticking on for a while and chatting and catching up. Man, I'll talk to you, all right?
You too, bro.
All right, see you later.